But this is your startup for week number 3. Let's look at number 1. It says if EF equals 2x minus 12, FG is 3x minus 15, and EG, which is the whole thing, is 23. It says find the values of X, EF, and FG. Well, if we're given that segment drawing, we can divide it up into different parts, right? So if this is E, F, and G, then what do we have? 2x minus 12. Here this is 3x minus 15. And the whole thing from E to G is 23 units. So if I add the two, they should equal 23. This is a segment addition. So combine my like terms. 5x minus 27 equals 23. Moving across, 5x is equal to, what is that, 60? So x equals 12. That's not all that it asked me to solve. It says for x, EF, and FG. Did I add wrong? Awesome! I did add wrong. That's what I get for doing it in my head. So x is 10. That's why we need calculators. X is 10, but not only does it want x, it wants EF and FG. So if EF, we would have 2 times 10 minus 12. 2 times 10 is 20. Minus 12 is 8. And here we'd have 3 times 10 minus 15. So that's 30 minus 15, which is 15. So EF equals 8 and FG equals 15. And number 2, it says if T is the midpoint of SU, find the values of X and ST. The diagram is not to scale, of course. So number 2, we are looking for the value of ST. Here we have ST is 9x and TU is 4x plus 25. The main thing is the fact that T is the midpoint. So since T is the midpoint, we know that 9x is equal to 4x plus 25. For the simple fact of that word midpoint. Solving for x, 5x equals 25, x equals 5. Does it want x? No, it wants, not only does it want x, but it wants the value of ST. ST equals 9x, which is 9 times 5, which equals 45. So my two solutions, x is 5, ST is 45. Number 3, it says ray MO bisects the measure or the angle LMN. So this ray bisects the whole angle. So we should know 2 things, or we should know the fact that this angle is congruent to this angle right now. Now we're told that the measure of LMO is 8x minus 23, and the measure of NMO is 2x plus 37. Solve for x and find the measure of angle LMN. So not only does it want us to find x, but then we have to find the measure of the whole angle. So since we have already stated that the 2 angles are equal, I know that 8x minus 23 will equal 2x plus 37. Solving, I'm going to take this across. At the same time, I'm taking this across. So is that 60? So x equals 10. But it doesn't want just x. It wants the whole angle, LMN. So I can plug x in. A couple of ways I can do this. I'm going to plug in x for one of my angles. That just gives me one side. So if they're all the same, once I get that, what can I do to it? I can double it, right? or I can add it to itself. So what do we have? 2 times 20 plus 37. 2 times 57. So then therefore the measure of the angle is 114. Number 4. 5 and 6 are using our distance and midpoint formulas. Drag that down, we won't have to move it anymore. So then we're looking at problem number 4. It says find the distance between 8, 2 and 3, 8 to the nearest tenth. This one it asks for the nearest tenth. So recall that the distance formula is x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Plugging in my points, I have the points, bring them over here. 8, 2 and 3, 8. Those are my 2 points. Here's my x's and here are my y's. So I'm going to say the square root of, let's say, 8 minus 3 squared plus 2 minus 8 squared. That gives me 5 squared, a negative 6 squared. So what do we have? 25 plus 36. The square root of 61. And if we wanted to or needed to put that in our calculator, I get an answer of 7.81024, so forth. But the directions say round to the nearest tenth, so my solution would be 7.8. And number 5, midpoint. Well, recall the formula for midpoint equals the sum of your x's divided by 2, comma, the sum of your y's divided by 2. It's a midpoint, so there's an x coordinate and a y coordinate, so make sure we keep that comma in there. Here it says find the coordinates of the midpoint excuse me, of the segment whose endpoints are at 8, 2, so 8, 2 and 6, 10. So I'm going to add my x's, 8 plus 6 divided by 2. I'm going to add my y's. So I have 14 over 2, which is 7. Then I have 12 over 2, which gives me 6. So I have an ordered pair of 7, 6. That's my midpoint, 7, 6. And finally, number 6. Here, number 6 is asking us to find one of the coordinates. We're given that the midpoint is at 9, 8, and one coordinate of coordinate S is at 10, 10. We're looking for the other endpoint. So if I know the midpoint of 9, 8 equals my formula, recall we're going to have 2 different equations to find my 2 different coordinates. Now I can go in here and I can substitute. My point is at 10, 10, so I'm just going to replace that. 10, 10 is my endpoint. So now I have 2 different equations. I have 9 equals, which is my x coordinate, and it equals the x coordinate here of 10 plus x1 divided by 2. Also have 8 equals 10 plus y1 divided by 2. So I have 2 equations that I will have to now solve. Get rid of the fraction or the division, so multiply on both sides by 2. 2 and 2, here it cancels, so I have 18 equals 10 plus x1 If I subtract, x1 is 8. Same process here. Move the 10 across. 6 is equal to y1. So therefore, my endpoint is at 8, 6. So the two endpoints is 8, 6 and 10, 10, and that gives me the midpoint of 9, 8. And that is your startup for week number 3.